When you're leading a US-German collaboration, you've likely felt a subtle but persistent friction. It's often not a major clash, but rather a mismatch in the fundamental logic of how work gets done. You have two highly effective leadership systems that are running on different and usually unstated assumptions. This creates a misleading illusion of similarity that can quietly undermine performance.
Now, let's be clear. Both American and German teams are driving toward the very same goals: clarity, trust, and ultimately results. The disconnect isn't the destination, it's the pathway. Each culture has a different and equally valid approach to getting there. And understanding these two pathways is really the foundation of effective transatlantic leadership.
So, to get a handle on this, we're going to break it down into 5 key areas. We'll start with the nature of the mismatch itself. Then, we'll dive into authority and structure, followed by communication and interaction. After that, we'll explore the very different ways trust is built, and finally, we'll pull it all together to discuss how to construct a durable leadership bridge.
So let's start with the mismatch itself. The real trap here isn't that the cultures are polar opposites. It's that their surface-level similarities, a shared focus on efficiency, for example, can mask some crucial divergences in professional expectations.
You see, this mismatch isn't something you'll find on an org chart. It operates below the surface. It's not about overt conflict, but about those differing, unstated assumptions about how professional work should be conducted. And that is the primary source of friction.
That leads us directly to our first major area of divergence: how each culture approaches the fundamentals of authority, structure, and planning.
If you look at the German context, hierarchy is often a tool for clarity. Established roles, titles, and expertise provide a very clear and respected structure. In the US system, however, there's a much stronger egalitarian instinct. Open debate between, say, a senior director and a junior associate isn't seen as disrespect. It's viewed as healthy collaboration. So, what does this mean for you as a leader? Well, a German team often looks for visible, thoughtful authority as a clear signal of competence. An American team, on the other hand, is more likely to measure leadership through accessibility and a leader's willingness to engage directly, no matter their rank. And this same logic extends to how decisions get made. The German approach tends to prioritize upfront rigor, building consensus and creating detailed plans to minimize any future uncertainty. In contrast, the American model often favors early momentum, making quick, top-down decisions and then iterating as they go. How do you bridge this gap? The key is to make the implicit explicit. A successful transatlantic leader has to facilitate a direct conversation to align on what prepared or ready actually means for any given project. This understanding must be established before any deadlines are put on the calendar. All right, let's shift gears and talk about the often misunderstood area of professional communication. It's interesting because both cultures value directness, but their motivations are different. For many Germans, direct, even unvarnished language is a sign of respect for precision and for the truth. For Americans, directness is also valued for efficiency, but it's typically softened to preserve rapport and keep the team motivated. This is particularly noticeable when it comes to giving feedback. And this is where the real risk of misinterpretation comes in. German precision can easily be heard as being harsh or abrupt. Meanwhile, American diplomatic framing can sound vague or even non-committal. The leader's role here is to act as a translator and establish a clear shared protocol for how feedback will be given and received on the team. Now, these communication styles really come to a head when we look at conflict. In many German professional contexts, a robust debate is a signal of deep engagement with a topic. In many American team settings, however, open confrontation is often seen as disruptive to team harmony and is something to be de-escalated quickly. You can imagine how easily signals get crossed here. A German professional might interpret an American counterpart's desire for harmony as a lack of passion or commitment. At the same time, that American may perceive their German colleagues' vigorous debate not as engagement, but as personal hostility. And of course, all these patterns of communication and conflict directly feed into the most crucial element of any collaboration: trust. The two cultures operate on distinct logics for how trust is earned and maintained. Think of it this way. Trust is built on two different foundations. In the German context, trust is primarily cognitive. It's built through demonstrated competence, proven expertise, and consistent reliability over time. In the American context, trust has a much stronger relational component. It's built through accessibility, friendliness, and a collaborative spirit.
So, as a leader in this environment, you don't get to choose one approach or the other. True effectiveness means becoming fluent in both currencies of trust. You have to deliver results with German-style precision while also demonstrating American-style relational investment.
So, with all this in mind, what is the path forward? The goal is not to force one culture to adopt the habits of the other. The real work is to architect a new and deeper level of understanding.
This brings us to the central question for any transatlantic leader. It's not about correcting one culture's behavior. It is about how to effectively lead teams that are operating on fundamentally different, yet equally valid, cultural programming.
And the answer is this. The first and most critical mandate for a transatlantic leader is to simply recognize these patterns. The work is not to fix one side or the other, but to make these underlying cultural logics explicit for everyone on the team. By doing that, you transform potential sources of friction into a powerful framework for mutual understanding. The question is no longer who's right, but how do we best leverage our differences to achieve superior performance?